Hi and welcome to another Watch Geek video. Today we get to review a Beaufort Aerotimer, the very first model from a New Zealand micro brand that they're launching on Kickstarter and already managed to overshoot their pledge target by 3 times. One look at this thing and you understand why, as this is just a stunning watch. It was delivered to my workplace, and every single person that I showed it to said it is incredibly beautiful. So if you want a showstopper and something that draws attention, this is it. The retro-inspired California dial, characterized by the mix of Roman and Arabic numerals, is simply breathtaking. The navy blue color just blends so well with the rose gold applied numerals and hands that I often find myself simply staring at it, realizing I forgot to read the actual time, making me check the time again. The logo is printed, but it has substance, like it is almost applied, and so does this cool crosshair that, if you look closely, connects the 4 main and the only loomed markers. The loom on both hands and markers is pretty good, bringing usability and sportiness to what seems like a dress watch at first glance. The date at 6 o'clock is done in white, and although I first saw it as a bad thing, as I spent more time with the watch, I realized it actually looks better this way, as it balances the dial mimicking the 6 o'clock marker. The hands are sword-shaped and properly long, reaching their designated markers, while the seconds hand has a rectangular loom area to match the loomed hour markers. These are little details that you don't realize right away, but they bring out a little smile when you finally do. The case is 40mm in diameter and has a 48.5mm lug-to-lug. That means it wears great on even small wrists like mine. I would usually say how I would prefer this type of watch to be around 38s, but somehow the proportions of the case, dial, and the bezel make this size look just right. The thickness of little over 11mm combined with the stepped polished bezel means the watch won't get caught on sleeves or cuffs. Thanks to the reasonable size and the sloping lugs, this thing wears incredibly comfortable. Part of that comfort is down to the very supple 22mm leather strap that, although very thick, doesn't strike me as something that will last. The underside has a paper-like leather grain, and in my experience, that type of grain doesn't handle sweat too well, discoloring permanently. Maybe this is treated differently somehow, but I seriously doubt it. The strap comes with a very classy deployant buckle that makes taking off and putting the watch back on very easy and prevents damage to the strap done by overbending it when taking it off, like so many people do with regular Tang buckles. The clasp is machined and finished to a high polish. Speaking of the finish, the high polish is also used on the stepped bezel and the lug bevels. The rest of the lugs and the sides of the case are brushed, but the brushing is not coarse and deep like we usually see, but more delicate, almost satin-like, bringing out the dressy nature of the watch. The caseback is a combination of polished and frosted finish, and held to the case with 6 screws. Despite not having a screw-in caseback nor crown, the watch does come with 100 meters of water resistance, making it suitable for swimming and snorkeling, although I would avoid doing so until you fit a more suitable strap for the job. The movement powering the watch is a Sellita SW-200, a well-known alternative to the ETA 2824 that beats at 28,800 bph and comes with both hacking and hand winding. It is a no-nonsense movement that you can expect to serve reliably while satisfying those who can't live without a Swiss-made mechanical movement. So if you haven't already noticed, I really like the Aerotimer. It is a great mix of a dressy watch with the applied California markers and the polished parts of the case, and a sporty casual watch thanks to the loom and the decent water resistance that make it usable in all conditions. All that is packed in a nicely sized and, more importantly, well-proportioned case creating a very good everyday watch. The only downside of this exact variant is also the thing that makes it so striking to look at, and that is the gold-plated case. Yes, it looks stunning, and the blue goes so well with the rose gold, but I can't help imagining it 5 to 10 years from now all scratched up with the plating worn on certain parts of the case, making it look cheap. So if you share the same concern, it may be better to go for the all-steel versions. The Aerotimer will cost 770 New Zealand dollars when it hits the market, which is roughly 490 US. If, however, you join their Kickstarter campaign, you can still pick them up for as low as 501 New Zealand dollars, which is roughly 318 US, depending on the pledge. And at that price, the value proposition of this thing is amazing. With this being their first model, I honestly can't wait to see what Beaufort does in the future. And it's certainly a brand I'll be watching more closely from now. Well, that completes this week's review, so thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed and found it useful. If you did, please like and subscribe, and until the next video, bye.